Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Friday, June 30th, 2017. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. It's the last day of June, it's the last day of the second quarter, it's the last day of the first half. And it's the eve of a 4-day weekend for many of us in the United States as we celebrate on Tuesday, July 4th, the 241st anniversary of the issuance of the Declaration of Independence. Meanwhile, back in the news of insurance and reinsurance, Fitch Ratings has revised its outlook on Lloyd's AA- financial strength rating to negative. It had been at stable. Fitch is saying that rising catastrophe exposures and progressively weaker underwriting performance has the rating agency concerned. They said that they're concerned about the size of the cat exposures that Lloyds is now running. Quote, Lloyd's exposure to worldwide natural and man-made catastrophes is higher than its peers. Fitch believes that exposure to catastrophe risk has increased in recent years despite declining margins in this line of business. Fitch also cited the continuing pressure on both risk-adjusted rates and expense ratios at Lloyd's as drivers for the outlook change. Boeing, the big aircraft maker, briefly suspended flights of its new hot-selling 737 MAX jetliner last month because of a possible flaw in an engine part. Now we're learning that that possible flaw in the engine part was due to a part created by Arconic. You might remember Arconic. It was recently in the news as the manufacturer of the exterior cladding on the Grenfell Tower in London. The engine apparently had a difficulty with one of the turbine discs that had been forged by Arconic. The discs were taken out of the engines and sent back to the manufacturer for retooling. According to Boeing, this is a hiccup. It happens pretty regularly during production of a new plane, and it's not anything to worry about. The repaired discs are now coming back to the plane manufacturer and being reinstalled in the engines. According to Aon Benfield's impact forecasting unit, severe weather in the United States this past week alone is likely to generate insured and economic losses that will exceed $100 million. The plains in the Midwest were the worst affected regions, with the area hit by a slow-moving storm system between the 27th of June and today, June 30th. Impact also noted that economic losses from flooding in 9 provinces in southern China for the same week are causing losses of about $2.35 billion. They also noted that a strong storm in southeastern and southern Europe is going to cost tens of millions of euros. Those storms apparently have followed the first significant heat wave of the year. In Japan today, 3 executives, former executives of the Tokyo Electric Power Company, TEPCO, have gone on criminal trial. The executives are the chairman of the company and former chairman of the company and 2 former vice presidents of the company. This is the first criminal trial over the 2011 meltdown at the nuclear plant, the Fukushima plant, which occurred after the plant was hit by 40-foot tidal waves spawned by the earthquake. The trial is the first and only one raising criminal charges related to the Fukushima disaster. 2 previous attempts to press criminal charges have been thrown out by judges. However, a judicial review panel in 2015 ruled that the 3 men should be put on trial, which meant that the prosecution picked up the case. The specific charges that they're facing have to deal with the deaths of more than 40 patients who died after they were evacuated from the hospital in a mad frenzy, a rush frenzy to get out of the way of both the wave and the nuclear contamination that was feared from the plant. The 3 men are expected to argue that they had no way of expecting a natural disaster of that magnitude and how it would affect the nuclear plant. It's going to be a bit of a stretch considering the zone where the plant is. 2 people were killed and 4 others were injured yesterday afternoon in an explosion at a large coal power plant near Tampa, Florida. The explosion occurred at the Big Bend Power Station at Apollo Beach. The plant is operated by Tampa Electric Company. Defense officials in Portugal say that they are compiling a list of weapons and ammunition stolen from the national armory of the country in a brazen daytime raid. Portuguese army say that hand grenades, 9mm ammunition, and perhaps other weapons were stolen from the arsenal. The arsenal is about 60 miles north of Lisbon. Of course, with the free internal travel ability within the European Union, this type of a heist with weapons is particularly disheartening to law enforcement given the threat of terrorism. And Bastille Day, the French National Independence Day, is July 14th. It's typically a day when the French president holds an open news conference. The newly elected French president, Emmanuel Macron, told the Le Monde newspaper that his thoughts are too complex and lend themselves badly to the game of question and answer with journalists, and thus he is skipping the news conference. As predicted, French press were outraged at this remark. Of course, in the United States, we don't necessarily have to worry about that, because our president's thoughts are perfectly capable of being limited to 147-character Twitter tweets. Interestingly enough, Mr. Trump and Mr. Macron will be together in France on July 14th. Maybe they can hold press conferences on both ends of the spectrum. That's the news for today. We're off on our 4-day weekend. If we have any breaking news today, we'll come back and tell you. If not, we will see you on Wednesday, July 5th. Thank you for watching.